Before you do anything else tonight, I want you to remove your shoe and pull down your sock on one leg. Now look closely at your ankle and lower calf. Do you see that line? That deep impression where the elastic band has been gripping all day? Press your finger into it. If that mark stays visible for more than 30 seconds, if it takes a full minute or even longer to disappear, then what I'm about to tell you could change everything about how you sleep, how you feel, and how much longer your body stays strong. Because that line is not caused by wearing tight socks. It has nothing to do with eating too much salt at dinner. And here is what will surprise you most. In roughly 7 out of 10 people experiencing this, it has absolutely nothing to do with your heart, even though that is probably what you have been told. What you are looking at is a backup in a system most people do not even know exists. And every single night, the fluid sitting in your leg right now is about to flood your body in a way that destroys your rest, strains your cardiovascular system, and makes every chronic condition you are managing significantly worse. I am Dr. James Whitemore, and today I am going to show you exactly what is pooling in your lower legs right now, why it happens after 60, and the simple 15-minute evening routine that stops it before you go to bed. Before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel. We are building a community of people who refuse to accept vague answers and half solutions, and the more of us there are, the harder it becomes for this kind of critical information to stay hidden. You know exactly what I am describing. You finish your day, kick off your shoes, and suddenly your ankles look puffy. Your calves feel strangely dense and uncomfortable. The rings you put on this morning will not slide off your fingers now. You push your thumb into the soft tissue above your ankle, and it leaves a pale dent that takes forever to fill back in. You stand up after watching television for an hour, and your legs feel like they have been filled with wet sand. So you mention it during your next checkup. And what happens? Your doctor listens to your heart. You get lab work checking kidney function. Someone hands you a prescription for a diuretic, a medication that forces your kidneys to pull water out of your blood and send it to your bladder. And maybe it helps a little. Maybe you notice a slight improvement, but for the vast majority of people over 60, it does virtually nothing because the excess fluid was never in your blood to begin with. It was sitting in the spaces between your cells, in your tissues, and no water pill on earth can touch it there. A diuretic can only affect what is circulating in your bloodstream. You have been draining the wrong tank. Let me explain what is really happening. Your body operates two separate drainage systems, not one. The first system is the one everyone knows about: blood. Your heart pumps oxygen-rich blood through arteries out to every part of your body, and then veins carry the depleted blood back. That system has a built-in motor, your heart, and it runs continuously whether you think about it or not. But there is a second network, and this is the one nobody explained to you in school. It is called your lymphatic system. And here is the critical part. It has no pump, nothing. Your lymph fluid is a transparent, slightly yellowish liquid that continuously seeps out of your tiniest blood vessels into the surrounding tissue. It bathes every cell, collects metabolic waste, captures stray bacteria, gathers excess protein molecules, and absorbs surplus water. Then it must be transported back into your bloodstream through an entirely different set of channels called lymphatic capillaries and ducts. We are talking about roughly 2 liters every 24 hours. But unlike your blood, which has your heart forcing it to move, your lymph only moves when your body moves. Picture a conveyor belt that only operates when you apply pressure to it. Every time you take a step, every time your calf muscle tightens, every time your ankle bends, you are squeezing those lymph vessels and pushing the fluid upward against gravity. Stop moving and the whole system shuts down. Sit motionless for 3 hours and that belt stops completely. The fluid just sits there, pooling silently in your ankles. When you are 30 years old, this is not a crisis. Your lymph vessels are still elastic and responsive. The one-way valves inside them snap shut cleanly. A short walk across the parking lot gets everything flowing again within minutes. But after 60, 3 changes happen simultaneously. The walls of your lymph vessels lose their flexibility. The valves begin to weaken and leak backward. And the connective tissue framework around your ankles, the scaffolding that keeps everything in place, starts to break down. Fluid leaks out faster, and the drainage system clears it slower. The equation no longer balances, and the reservoir begins to expand. Before I continue, I need to make something absolutely clear. There are specific situations where swelling in your legs is not a lymph drainage issue and is instead a medical emergency. You must recognize these. If any of the following describe your situation, stop watching and get evaluated by a physician today. First, one leg swells suddenly and dramatically compared to the other within just a few hours, and it is painful, hot to the touch, and red. That can signal a deep vein thrombosis, a dangerous clot. Second, both legs are swelling and you are experiencing difficulty breathing, particularly when lying down. You wake up at night gasping for air. You cannot climb a single flight of stairs without stopping. That pattern indicates heart failure that has progressed beyond early stages. Third, swelling combined with rapid weight gain, 4 or 5 pounds in 1 week, along with foamy urine. That triad suggests your kidneys are allowing protein to escape and requires immediate blood work. Fourth, swelling confined to one side, painless but firm, in someone who has had cancer treatment or surgery in that area. That can indicate lymph node obstruction and needs imaging. If none of those apply to you, if your swelling develops gradually, affects both legs equally, worsens by evening, improves by morning, and you have no trouble breathing while at rest, then what I am about to teach you is designed for you. There are 3 distinct patterns of chronic lower leg swelling in people over 60. They look almost identical but have completely different root causes. Pattern 1 is venous insufficiency. The veins in your legs are failing to return blood to your heart efficiently. The valves inside those veins have broken down. Blood backs up, pressure increases, and water is forced through the vessel walls into surrounding tissue. You will typically see bulging varicose veins, a brownish staining on the skin just above the ankle, and the swelling becomes dramatically worse after a full day on your feet. Pattern 2 is lymphatic, and this is what we are addressing today. Lymph circulation has slowed to a crawl. The tissue becomes saturated. The swelling is soft, leaves a depression when you press it, feels spongy rather than firm, and frequently extends onto the top of the foot, the area just behind your toes. When lymphatic swelling has persisted for years, the skin on top of the foot thickens so much you cannot pinch it between your fingers. That is a diagnostic sign called Stemmer's sign, and it points directly at lymph, not veins. Pattern 3 is cardiac or renal failure. Your heart or kidneys are unable to regulate fluid properly. The swelling is symmetrical, progresses throughout the day, and crucially, it comes with additional red flags: shortness of breath, waking multiple times nightly to urinate, crushing fatigue, sudden weight spikes. If those symptoms describe you, you are in pattern 3 and you need a comprehensive medical workup immediately, not a home protocol. The majority of people over 60 with chronic evening ankle swelling and no other alarming symptoms fall into pattern 2. Lymphatic. Let me tell you about a patient I will call Robert. 71 years old, retired engineer, came into the office absolutely convinced he was in heart failure. For nearly 3 years, his ankles had been expanding by late afternoon. Initially just slightly, then enough that his usual shoes no longer fit. He bought new shoes with wider widths. The swelling continued to worsen. He brought it up at his annual physical and was sent for an echocardiogram. The results came back completely normal. His ejection fraction measured 58%. Textbook healthy, but Robert was still swelling. His doctor prescribed a diuretic. He took it faithfully for 8 months. He spent half his day in the bathroom. His ankle swelling barely improved. He felt drained, constantly thirsty, and still puffy. Then he said something during our consultation that changed everything. The strange part is when I visit my daughter and we spend the whole day walking around the city, my ankles actually look better that night. That was the key. His swelling improved with activity. His swelling worsened with inactivity. His heart function was excellent. His kidney labs were fine. What Robert had was a lymphatic transport failure that no medication could resolve because the fluid was not circulating in his blood. It was trapped in his tissue. Here is what happens inside Robert's body every day, and probably inside yours. He wakes up and his ankles look thin. He spent 8 hours lying horizontal. Gravity was not dragging fluid down into his legs, and his lymph system had the entire night to mostly clear out yesterday's backlog. By morning, he is almost reset. He gets up, eats breakfast, sits at the kitchen table reading the paper for an hour, sits in his car driving to a meeting for 30 minutes, sits at his desk working on a project for 4 hours, has lunch, sits again. By 2 in the afternoon, he has been upright but mostly stationary for 8 hours. Fluid has been silently leaking from his capillaries into the tissue spaces of his lower legs the entire time. His calf muscles have barely engaged. The lymphatic conveyor belt has barely operated. The fluid is just quietly accumulating, drop by drop, into a reservoir he cannot see. By evening, the indentation appears where his sock elastic was. By 9, his wedding ring feels tight. By 10, he lies down to sleep. And now the actual problem starts. All that accumulated fluid in his ankles, now that gravity is no longer holding it down, begins to slowly redistribute back into his bloodstream. His heart suddenly receives an unexpected volume surge. His kidneys detect the increase and go into overdrive, generating urine. He wakes at 1 in the morning, again at 3, again at 5:30. By 6, he is exhausted. The cycle repeats itself the next day. 2 quick assessments right now, 30 seconds total. Test 1, the indentation test. Find the bony ridge along the front of your shin, about 4 inches above your ankle. Press your thumb firmly into the tissue there. Hold for 15 seconds. Release and observe. If there is a visible crater that takes 10 seconds or longer to disappear, you have what clinicians call pitting edema. Remember your grade. You will check again in 2 weeks after following the protocol, and the difference will be obvious. Test 2, the skin pinch test. Try to lift the skin on the top of your foot, just behind your second toe, between your thumb and forefinger. If you can easily gather the skin into a fold, your lymph is flowing. If you cannot lift the skin at all, if it feels glued to the structures beneath, you have advanced lymphatic congestion. 3 behaviors that make lymphatic swelling worse. Most people over 60 engage in all 3 every single day without realizing it. First is concealed sodium. Not the salt you sprinkle on your food, but the sodium hidden inside processed foods. Deli meat, cheese, canned vegetables, bread, salad dressing, takeout meals, frozen dinners. Sodium draws water out of your bloodstream and into your tissues. Your body will retain approximately 1 liter of water for every extra gram of sodium consumed. Most Americans over 60 consume double the sodium they realize. Second is extended sitting after your evening meal. The 3-hour window between 7 and 10 at night, when you finally settle into your favorite chair, is precisely when your legs are pulling in the most fluid. 3 hours of immobility following your largest meal of the day creates the absolute worst environment for overnight fluid redistribution. Third is evening alcohol consumption. A single glass of wine dilates your capillaries, increases the rate at which fluid leaks from vessels into tissue, and suppresses the antidiuretic hormone your brain uses to signal your kidneys to slow urine production at night. 1 drink and your ankles will be visibly worse by the next morning. Now the opposite direction. Behaviors that support lymph movement. Water. This sounds backwards. Most people with swelling reduce their water intake because they assume more water equals more swelling. The reverse is true. Dehydration makes lymph thick and sluggish, harder to transport. A properly hydrated body has thin, fast-moving lymph. Aim for approximately half your body weight in ounces, distributed throughout the day, tapering off after 5 in the evening. Foods rich in natural bioflavonoids, compounds that strengthen the walls of tiny blood vessels and reduce leakage. The best sources are blueberries, blackberries, citrus fruits, and red onions. 1 serving of berries daily has measurable effects on capillary strength over roughly 2 months. Protein intake. Low blood protein, specifically low albumin levels, is one of the hidden drivers of tissue swelling in older adults. Albumin is a protein that keeps water inside your blood vessels. When albumin drops, water escapes into tissues and stays there. Many older adults are quietly protein deficient. 2 servings of quality protein daily, eggs, fish, poultry, beans, Greek yogurt, directly improves the mechanics of fluid balance. Magnesium. Deficient in most people over 60, essential for smooth muscle tone, including the muscular walls of lymph vessels. Pumpkin seeds, spinach, and almonds are the easiest dietary sources. Now, the 15-minute evening routine that drains your ankles before bed. This is the core of everything I am teaching you. Pay close attention. Every step matters. Morning routine. Before your feet touch the floor while you are still lying in bed, perform 30 ankle pumps. Point your toes downward, then pull them back toward your face. 30 repetitions. This takes 45 seconds. It jumpstarts lymph flow after 8 hours of stillness and prevents fluid from rushing downward the instant you stand. Daytime routine. Every hour you spend sitting, do 20 calf raises. If seated, keep your heels on the ground and lift your toes upward and down. If you can stand, rise onto the balls of your feet and lower back down 20 times. This takes 30 seconds. It keeps the drainage system active throughout the day so fluid never gets a chance to build up. Set a phone alarm if necessary. Pre-dinner routine. 5 minutes of slow, easy walking. Not exercise, just movement. Around your neighborhood, through your house, across your yard. Walking activates the deep calf muscles in ways that seated movements cannot replicate. Evening routine, 90 minutes before bed. This is the crucial intervention. Lie on your bed or the floor. Prop your legs straight up against a wall at approximately a 90-degree angle. Your heels higher than your hips higher than your heart. Remain there for 15 minutes. During those 15 minutes, perform slow ankle circles, 10 in each direction. Then do alternating ankle flexes, 20 total. Then, still inverted, place both palms flat on your abdomen and breathe deeply through your nose, letting your belly expand for 3 full minutes. Slow, deep diaphragmatic breathing activates the thoracic duct, the primary drainage channel of your entire lymphatic system, which runs directly behind your diaphragm. Every deep breath is literally pumping your lymph upward. After 15 minutes, slowly roll onto your side, sit up, and do something simple but remarkably effective. Starting at your ankle, use the flat surfaces of your fingers to gently stroke the skin upward toward your knee. Slow, light pressure, always moving toward your heart, never downward. 10 strokes per leg. This is a simplified form of manual lymphatic drainage, and it physically shifts fluid from tissue spaces into lymph capillaries. Immediately after this sequence, you will feel the urge to urinate. You will release 300 to 400 milliliters of pale urine. That is the exact fluid that otherwise would have woken you at 2 in the morning. You just drained it while you were awake and in control of your schedule. Robert followed this protocol for 3 weeks. By the end of week 1, his sock marks were gone by morning. By the end of week 2, he stopped waking at night. By the end of week 3, his ankles at 9 in the evening were the same size they used to be at 9 in the morning. His echocardiogram had not changed. His medications had not changed. What changed was that his lymphatic system was finally being given the opportunity to do its job at a time that worked with his life, instead of being forced to desperately play catch-up all night while he was trying to sleep. 5 action steps to take tonight. 1. Perform the indentation test right now. Know your grade. Write it down somewhere you will see it. 2. Eliminate one major source of hidden sodium tomorrow. For most people, that means cheese, deli meat, or canned soup. Choose whichever one you consume most frequently and replace it for 2 weeks. 3. Before dinner tonight, walk for 5 minutes. Not after dinner, before. 4. 90 minutes before you plan to sleep. Legs up the wall for 15 minutes. Deep belly breathing for 3 of those minutes. 10 upward strokes on each calf when you finish. 5. Tomorrow morning, 30 ankle pumps before your feet leave the bed. Follow this routine for 2 weeks. Retest the indentation. You will be shocked by the change. One final request before you go. I need 2 pieces of information from you. First, how old are you? Write your age in the comments below. The age distribution of this audience directly influences which topics I cover next. Second, where are you watching from? Which city? Which state? Which country? Leave it in the comments. I want to see how far this message is spreading, and if you know someone whose ankles swell every evening, send them this video. They have almost certainly been told it is their heart. They have almost certainly been given a pill that does not address the underlying mechanism. You might be giving them the explanation no one else bothered to provide. Your ankles are not failing you. They are a drainage system that stopped receiving the movement signals it needs to function. Give it 15 minutes a day, and the change is not subtle. It is the kind of transformation you see in the mirror, feel in your shoes, and notice the first morning you wake up without needing to check if your ankles are still swollen.